Have you ever paused in a quiet moment, perhaps beneath the open sky or in the stillness of night, and asked yourself, what truly happens when this life comes to an end? Is death the final curtain, or merely a doorway to something greater? And if it is a doorway, where does it lead? This question has haunted and inspired the hearts of seekers since the dawn of time. In every ancient culture, in the sacred books of saints, in the silent meditations of mystics, one timeless truth echoes, that life does not cease with the death of the body. And beyond death lies a rare and precious state known as Moksha, or final liberation. But what exactly is this liberation? Is it some distant heaven, a reward for good deeds? Or is it something deeper, more profound, the soul's return to its original home in the infinite spirit? You see, dear one, many people confuse death with freedom, believing that when the breath stops and the eyes close, the soul is automatically set free. But the ancient sages, and all self-realized masters who have crossed the boundaries of this world, speak differently. Today, in this sacred conversation between you and me, let us gently unravel this mystery. I will not ask you to blindly believe, but to open your heart, listen with the stillness of your inner being, and feel the ancient wisdom that has guided millions before you. For when you truly understand the difference between death and liberation, your entire relationship with life itself will transform. Come, let us embark on this journey together. Dear one, to understand the mystery of death, you must first know what you truly are. You are not this body, these hands, these eyes, or even this restless mind that constantly moves from thought to thought. You are the eternal soul, pure, untouched, radiant, and unbound by time. This body you now inhabit is but a temporary garment, a vehicle the soul uses to move through this earthly experience. And death, dear seeker, is nothing but the quiet moment when the soul gently slips out of this garment and moves on. In the same way a traveler changes clothes when they grow old and worn, the soul leaves behind the physical body when it can no longer serve its purpose. It is not an end, it is a passage, a return to a subtler realm. At the moment of death, the life force, which animates every cell in the body, begins to withdraw. It first leaves the feet, then the limbs, then the vital organs, and finally the brain. When the last breath leaves, the soul detaches itself completely and is freed from the earthly frame. But what happens next? The soul, carrying with it the subtle impressions of all its desires, emotions, and unfulfilled karma, passes into the astral world, a realm made of light and thought. There, it continues its journey, resting, learning, or preparing for its next birth, according to its spiritual maturity and karmic patterns. Thus, death is not to be feared. It is as natural as sleep, a necessary interval in the long, eternal journey of the soul. Wise ones have always taught that to fear death is to misunderstand life itself. The soul cannot die, for it was never born. It simply moves from one chapter of its existence to the next. Now, dear seeker, let us journey beyond the moment of death. When the soul leaves the body, it does not vanish into nothingness, nor does it immediately dissolve into the infinite. It enters a higher plane of existence known as the astral world, a realm more refined and beautiful than this dense physical world. The astral world is made not of gross matter, but of light, energy, and thought. Here, forms shimmer, colors are alive, and time moves differently. It is a world woven from the fabric of consciousness itself. In this astral plane, souls experience the consequences of their earthly desires, attachments, and karma. Those who lived with kindness and purity dwell in luminous realms of peace and joy, while those bound by darker tendencies gravitate toward less harmonious regions. The astral body, which is made of energy, continues to house the soul, allowing it to perceive and interact with its new surroundings. For most, the astral world is not the final destination. When the karmic forces that drew a soul to the physical world are exhausted, it must either be reborn or, for those spiritually advanced, ascend to an even subtler realm, the causal world. This causal world is the realm of pure ideas and consciousness, where the soul exists without the need for a material or astral body. It is here that highly evolved beings, free from most earthly and astral attachments, dwell in deep, blissful communion with the infinite. Yet, even these higher worlds, though vast and wondrous, are not moksha. They are still within the domain of creation. The final liberation comes only when the soul, dissolving all remaining desires and karmic bonds, merges forever with the Supreme Spirit, never to return to any realm of form again. Now, beloved seeker, having understood the journey of the soul through death and the subtle worlds, let us turn our gaze toward the supreme goal of life, moksha. What is this liberation that the saints and scriptures speak of with such reverence? Is it merely an escape from suffering? Is it a paradise of unending pleasures? No. Moksha is far greater, far deeper. It is the final freedom, the soul's eternal union with the infinite spirit, beyond all heavens, beyond all worlds. You see, as long as the soul identifies itself with the body, the mind, and the ego, it remains bound in the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, a cycle propelled by desires, attachments, and the consequences of countless actions. Even after death, unless the soul has completely realized its divine nature, it must continue to pass through various realms, returning again and again to this world of duality. But moksha is the state where the soul awakens from this long dream. It realizes, with crystal clarity, I was never this body, never this mind, I am pure spirit, one with the eternal. In that moment of divine realization, all desires are extinguished, all karmic debts dissolve, and the soul merges into the infinite ocean of bliss from which it once arose. In liberation, there is no individuality, no separation, no birth, no death, only endless, boundless joy, peace, and wisdom. As a drop merges back into the ocean and becomes the ocean itself, so does the soul become one with God. The great ones tell us that moksha is not a distant hope for the afterlife but a living reality one can attain in this very life, through deep meditation, love for the divine, and the grace of the Guru. Now, dear one, a question naturally arises in the heart of every seeker. If the soul leaves this heavy, limited body at death, why does it not attain freedom then and there? Why does it not dissolve into bliss immediately? This is a subtle and vital truth to understand on the spiritual path. Death alone cannot free a soul from bondage. The chains that bind a soul are not physical, they are woven from desires, attachments, fears, and the countless impressions left by its own thoughts and actions through many lifetimes. Even when the body falls, the tendencies of the mind, the pull of past desires, and the weight of unfinished karma cling to the soul like a subtle mist. Wherever the soul goes, whether in the astral or causal worlds, these unresolved patterns follow. It is these unseen threads that draw the soul back into another birth, into another form, into another play of joy and sorrow. You see, death is merely a change of scenery in the soul's long drama, not the final act. It does not erase ignorance. It does not burn away karma. Only through conscious effort, meditation, deep inward inquiry, and love for the infinite can the soul gradually loosen these bonds. That is why great masters say, do not wait for death to deliver you. Seek your freedom now, while you are alive. The body is a sacred tool, given to you for the very purpose of realizing God. Liberation comes not by escaping life, but by transcending it through wisdom and divine experience. Thus, the afterlife offers rest and reflection, but moksha, the final freedom, comes only through conscious, self-awakening union with the infinite. Now, dear seeker, you may be wondering, if liberation is not granted by death alone, then how can a soul ever attain moksha? The answer is both simple and profound. Liberation is not a gift from destiny, nor a reward from some distant deity. It is the natural birthright of every soul. But it must be claimed, through conscious effort, deep longing for truth, and divine grace. The path to moksha begins with sincere self-inquiry, the unshakable desire to know who am I? Why am I here? What lies beyond this fleeting world? This inner questioning gradually turns the mind away from temporary pleasures and toward the eternal. The wise have always taught that discipline, right action, and pure-hearted living prepare the soil of life, but the seed of liberation sprouts only through meditation. Meditation is the sacred science of turning one's awareness inward, away from the senses, away from restless thoughts, and into the silent depths of the soul. In that stillness, the seeker gradually peels away the layers of ego, desire, and ignorance, until the true self, ever one with the infinite, is revealed. Along this path, selfless service, compassion, and humility purify the heart. Devotion, or bhakti, awakens love for the divine, melting the hard shell of ego. The grace of a true guru, one who has himself reached the shores of liberation, acts as a guiding light, hastening the soul's journey home. Understand, dear one, that liberation is not a faraway goal, reserved for saints alone. Every moment you turn within, every act of kindness, every silent prayer draws you closer to it. The door to moksha is open to all, and the key lies in the stillness of your own heart. Now, dear soul, let us gather all that we have reflected upon and bring clarity to the question that began this sacred conversation. What is the difference between death and liberation? Though they may seem similar to the untrained mind, in truth, they are as different as night and day, as sleep is from awakening. Death is a natural event in the cycle of birth and rebirth. It is the simple shedding of the physical body, much like a traveler changing garments at the end of a day's journey. But death alone does not free the soul from its inner bondage. The desires, attachments, and karma of many lifetimes remain with the subtle body and mind. The soul, carrying these impressions, continues to travel through the astral and causal worlds, or takes birth again to fulfill them. Death, therefore, is a transition, not an end, and certainly not the final freedom. Liberation, or moksha, on the other hand, is the soul's final awakening from this long dream of separateness. It is the state where all desires have been dissolved, all karmic debts have been cleared, and the false identification with body and mind has been completely transcended. In moksha, the soul merges forever with the infinite spirit, never to return to the cycles of birth and death. The difference is this: death changes your body, but moksha transforms your very being. Death takes you from one room to another in the house of creation. Moksha takes you beyond the house itself, into the boundless sky of eternal bliss. Every soul must pass through death, but only the awakened, the sincere seeker who knows his divine origin and seeks union with the infinite, attains liberation. This, dear one, is the great truth. And so, dear one, we have walked together through this sacred understanding of what death truly is, what lies beyond it, and how moksha, the final liberation, alone brings lasting freedom to the soul. Remember this well: death comes to all, but liberation must be consciously sought. It is the greatest adventure of your soul's eternal journey, to awaken from the illusions of this world and merge back into the infinite light from which you were born. Do not wait for the final breath to begin seeking this truth. Every sunrise, every quiet evening, every moment you feel the pull of something greater within you, these are gentle reminders from the divine, calling you home. The purpose of life is not merely to exist, but to realize who you are behind this temporary mask of form and name. I encourage you now, dear seeker, to begin or deepen your inner practice. Meditate daily, even if only for a few minutes. Sit in stillness, watch your breath, and feel the peace that already lives within you. Reflect on the eternal nature of your soul. Seek the company of uplifting thoughts, noble people, and the timeless wisdom of saints and masters. If you found peace, inspiration, or clarity through this conversation, I lovingly invite you to join this growing community of kindred souls. Subscribe to this channel, so we may continue to share these ancient truths together. Leave a comment with your reflections. I would be honored to hear the voice of your heart. And share this message with a loved one who too seeks light amidst the shadows. May the infinite spirit bless you and guide you toward the eternal freedom that is your birthright. Om Shanti.